You really do kind of have to eat your protein whenever you're working out a lot and lifting heavy. I love fruit. It's my favorite food group, and if I could, I would just eat fruit. And I used to follow so many YouTubers who just eat fruit. I was never able to afford the fruitarian lifestyle, but I definitely wanted to whenever I was younger. For years, I think I was eating probably under 30 grams of protein a day. Now, I wasn't as much of a gym rat then as I am now, so I didn't really feel its toll on my body, but I do wonder how much better I would have felt during all those years if I just ate a little bit more protein. Anyway, now I eat a pretty high protein diet for a vegan, and I really feel the difference if I'm traveling or something and I'm eating less protein, how much longer it takes my muscles and my body to recover, how much heavier my limbs feel during the day if I've gone like 3 days going low protein. So it does make a massive difference. When I'm really locked in and focused, lifting heavy 4 or 5 days a week, my personal goal is to get around 120 grams of protein, which is so much protein. I think on a normal week, I'm probably averaging around 90 to 100 grams of protein, which is plenty to make myself, recover pretty quickly and feel good throughout the day. I get most of my protein from lentils, protein powder, and tofu. Those are my 3 core sources. That's what works for me. Protein powders are so important for convenience, but I am not committed to any of them yet, okay? I don't trust them. There have been so many protein scandals recently, with brands straight up lying about their nutrition facts, with them lying about their ingredients even. And for vegan protein powders especially, lead poisoning is a serious issue, especially if you're eating as much protein powder as I am. So my solution is to cycle my protein powders. Whenever I find a protein powder that's on sale, either online or in real life, I'll buy like 2 or 3 containers of it, and then once I finish that, I'll switch to a different protein powder because a different protein powder is going to be on sale. So I buy in bulk when things are on sale, and then I just keep switching. That way I figure if any of them are poisonous or lying about their labels or something, then I'm not getting too much of any one poison. Fiber is in for 2026. It helps so much with digestion, and it helps to slow down the digestion of those protein powders or that tofu or whatever, so you can actually absorb more grams of protein. I don't have a fiber goal. I don't count my fiber grams, but I do think about it in my head. I think, have I eaten enough fiber today? No? Go eat fiber. That's what I think. Another tip that helps me is that whenever I'm feeling burnt out on protein and fiber and blah, 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 I allow myself to have 1 or 2 low protein days. I'm not really counting how often this happens. Probably happens like once every 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's kind of like how people talk about cheat days or cheat meals, but for me that doesn't mean like eating really oily or unhealthy or processed foods, because those things don't give me too much pleasure, honestly. But what gives me pleasure is taking a break from protein powder and tofu and eating like a lot of watermelon or apples or like grapes. Oh my God. Sometimes I just say, you know what? Today, no protein powder, and instead many full plates of perfectly cooked Brussels sprouts and potatoes and watermelon and fruit and grapes. All of my favorite like vegan food that makes me feel less like a gym bro, I love being a gym bro, but sometimes I want to be an islander. And on the subject of getting protein powder in bulk, I think I talked in my last video about how I have a rule of trying to get 20 grams of protein for less than $1 generally, so that's why I get my protein powders on sale. But I also buy my tofu in bulk. So in big grocery stores, if there's a tofu sale where I can meet that dollar thing, then I will. But this is a Portland special. There's a place called Ota Tofu, and it's like the oldest tofu factory in the country or something like that, where they make traditional Japanese tofu. It's super, super cool. If you're in the area, I really recommend going there. But I go there maybe once every month, probably even less than that, once every 2 months or something, and I get a massive bucket of tofu for $60. And it's such an exciting little process. They always look at me like I'm crazy, because I think most people who get a bucket of tofu are like restaurants, like local restaurants. And I go in and I say, can I have a bucket of extra firm tofu? And they say, oh yes, what's the name? because they want my company name. And I say, no, just me. And they say, oh. Every time I get that reaction. But that gives me like 7 or 8 days of delicious fresh tofu, and then after that I'll freeze it, and it's still really good. It is the most delicious tofu I've ever had. So much better than anything that I can find on a grocery aisle. If you're not a creature like me and you're actually making delicious meals for like you and your family, your partner, whatever, I highly recommend getting Vital Wheat gluten. It's a very, very cheap ingredient. You can usually find it next to flour or whatever in the grocery stores, and making homemade seitan. It's so easy. You basically just make a dough out of the Vital Wheat gluten, and I usually season the dough as well. Don't just season it after it's cooked. And then you tear off little bits of it. I like to tear off bits that are like about the size of the top joint of my pinky finger, because the smaller it is, the less weird the texture is going to taste. So I just rip those off in pieces about that big, and you can put it in a stir fry, fried rice, chili, gumbo, whatever you're making, and it kind of absorbs the flavors of everything around it, and that's great. You can also get bulk soy curls for pretty cheap, and that is similarly easy to kind of throw into any recipe. I think probably the healthiest food in the world is legumes, beans and lentils and things like that. They're great for protein, but they also have so many micronutrients. So obviously just throw those in your diet whenever you can. So many of our traditional meals happen over some kind of carb base, like they're wrapped up in a tortilla, or they're over pasta, over rice, on some kind of flatbread. As many times as you can throughout the week, as is like reasonable for you, I honestly recommend just keeping all the toppings and swapping out the base with lentils or beans. Obviously, that's going to create a very different thing. If you make pizza on lentils, it's not pizza, okay? I'm not trying to tell you that this is pizza, but it is, in my opinion, a really good way to get your protein in and kind of keep a similar flavor profile that is often surprisingly delicious. I love finding a pasta recipe and straight up switching out the pasta with lentils. Pasta sauce on lentils with roasted veggies. It goes so hard, y'all. It is so delicious. I also take a lot of supplements. I started taking creatine probably about 3 years ago now, and I used to just take 5 grams a day, but recently I've started taking 10 grams a day because it kind of seems like that's what everyone's doing, so I'm just doing it too. You know, people jump off bridges, I'll follow them. Vegans, we gotta take our B12. If you live in Oregon like me, you should probably take some vitamin D. It's beautiful today. Oh my gosh, look at this sun, right? But it's not always like that. It's oftentimes not. I'm also like genetically anemic. The women in my family, I think we bleed a lot, you know? So I need to take an iron supplement. If you're not anemic, don't take an iron supplement. But a great hack if you are anemic, which by the way is a lot of women, is to instead of take a multivitamin and an iron supplement, just take a prenatal, because it's kind of all of those things put together in one capsule, which means you're usually paying a little less money for it. So that's great. I have been an unhealthy vegan and I've been a healthy vegan in many, many different ways. I've been vegan now for, I think, about 13 years. And, you know, some of that I was a tired college student who was over caffeinated. Some of that I was working at a vegan restaurant where I got lots of free vegan food every day, but I was working my butt off and it wasn't always the healthiest food. I've been in eras where I've been completely sedentary and not going outside and eating carrots all day. I've been so many different people. Right now, I'm focused on health in a way that I haven't been in a really long time. And that's reflected in the fact that I feel pretty healthy right now. But I know that I'm not healthy because I'm vegan. I've been an unhealthy vegan way too often to think that. And I want to say it's okay to not be optimizing for muscle growth, to not even be optimizing for muscle maintenance right now. You know, if you have other priorities, your priorities are yours. Financial health is important. Ease of access is important. Maybe you don't have time to be doing all of this, and that's okay. Humans are adaptive and incredible, and, you know, take it from me, who spent some years being very unhealthy. Your body can bounce back from a lot, and you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. And if you are trying to grow your muscles, lifting heavy is more important than getting 100 grams of protein in a day. You do need a little bit of protein. You probably need, if you're around, if you're like a middle-sized female, you probably need like 60, 70, 80, like something in there, depending on your personal body, grams of protein, but you don't need to be getting a gram of protein per body weight. That's just if you really want to focus. But if you want progress, you don't need that. Progress comes from lifting heavy and eating enough. Our ancestors did not have nutrition labels, but they were carrying pails of water and carrying agricultural tools and carrying babies and carrying their siblings and carrying each other and carrying their parents. And they did okay. You're gonna be okay. Ultimately, there is no perfect diet because this planet is a harsh one. We are evolved and adapted to survive and tolerate many different styles of consumption. Anyone who tells you that there is one end-all be-all perfect diet for everyone has not considered all of the variables. I'm really into anthropology and history, and I am very aware, even haunted, by the fact that hunter-gatherers had probably more sustainable and more nutritionally balanced lives oftentimes than their agriculturalist or even pastoralist counterparts. There have been times and places in history when killing an animal is the less cruel, healthier option, the option more in line with the seasons and with the earth and with the human soul. But because of this type of civilization that I'm in, because of the insane growth of the human population, and I love the human population, we have landed ourselves in a time where meat and dairy consumption is the more cruel option. And I don't want to take part in that. Sometimes being vegan starts to feel vain to me, because it's an annoying set of rules that I've lived by for so long that I forget how annoying it is until I'm in a situation. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have this whole self-imposed limitation, this burden that other people don't have because I'm trying to be a good person. But no one cares, and I'm not even a particularly good person. And why am I still doing this whole vegan thing again? And then I consider, y'all, I consider deeply. And I go to the supermarket, and I robotically go to all the places that I'm used to going, the places with the foods that I like, the produce section, the grains, the beans, but I pass through the meat section, and I see all of this plastic-wrapped life and death. And I look at the people milling around who have been conditioned, just like me, to be unaffected by the hundreds of dead animals in this fluorescent-ass grocery store. And I'm like, okay, that's why I'm vegan. Because this is wrong. In the here and in the now, being vegan is the less cruel option. And for me, it's not just about loving animals or even loving the people who are working within these industry. It's just about having integrity and trying to reduce the amount of cognitive dissonance that I have to use to go through everyday life. Relying on powders and supplements and ultra-processed meat substitutes in order to meet my protein goals is ethically problematic, and it's nutritionally inconvenient. But between that and large-scale animal agriculture, I'm going to choose veganism every time. Even if I'm not a particularly good person and no one cares. Because I want to try.